Okay, so we're on page, I think, Tzadik Aleph, is that right?
Yeah, bottom paragraph.
Okay. Let's go on. So Rebbe Yoel has written to this fellow so far that be honest with yourself. Remember that if it was your own wayward son, you would bend the other way. And number two, he says that it's not bending the other way; it's just having Ahavas Yisrael, and that the Rebbe had Ahavas Yisrael for every Jew, and therefore he taught his Hasidim to have Ahavas Yisrael for every Jew, and to live with that Ahavas Yisrael. In yesterday's shir, we learned that there's different ideas in movements in Kiruv, including popular organizations, etc. Is it getting mileage out of what you're doing, etc., etc. So that was yesterday's discussion. Now let's say Omnom. Yesterday spoke about the other Kiruv organizations. Now he speaks about Chabad. Kol Zeh Omnom, however, bottom of page Tzadik Aleph, 91. Kol Zeh Ein Nogea Klal Uklal LaHaPu'ula Sherabeinu Shlita Oize Birdei Lekarev Yehudim Liyadus. He says all of the discussion, how Kiruv organizations in general, as a generality, deal with Kiruv is not relevant to the Rebbe, the way he approaches being Makar of Jews, Kipu'ulas Elu, because these activities, Loirak Sheim Behem Eze Shemetz, the Shemetz Shel Isur Chas V'Sholem, there isn't an iota of prohibition as the Satmar claimed there is. So that's right away off the bat, he tells you there isn't. Oy Eze Inya Shel Vitur Chas V'Sholem, there isn't, God forbid, an iota of conceding. It's like it's not prohibited, but we're going to really, we should be learning, and we're going to take some time off to do some kiruv. So the Rebbe Yoel says that's not the Chabad view of kiruv, of outreach. Al digduk kal shel divrei sofrim, and there isn't any conceding, even the slightest digduk kal means the slightest particular detail that seems to be totally ancillary, non-important, enacted by the Divrei Seifim, by the rabbis, by the Rabbonim. Birdei, we're going on to page Tzadik Beis. Lahasik ayidei zayin sherebach beyadus, and the reason, again, he just repeats the Nakuda. The reason why it would be allowed to concede on a leniency that's non-significant is for the benefit of Judaism. And that this again contributes to your point, Moshe, contrary to your point, I should say. El Adarab, on the contrary, L'daitoi shel Rabbeinu Shlita, according to the opinion of the Rebbe, al pi halacha yesh chiyuv lases b'pulas elu. And that's a beautiful Douglas emphasis. There is a chiyuv. You have an obligation to do kiruv. Yonason, please turn off your mute yourself. Yonason, please.
Sorry.
It's all right. So Yonason, the Rebbe says, the Rebbe Yoel says that the Rebbe's shita in outreach is that there's a chiyuv to go and reach out to someone else. Rebbe Yoel writes, before I will explain this, I must give a short preface. Yes. Just like the feeling of love for another Jew. If it leads to things that are contrary to Torah, this proves it's not true love of another Jew, rather it's the feeling and the expression of the negative side. He says the exact same thing is what's happening when one claims I'm doing this because I'm a zealot, I'm a kanois. Chas v'sholem ha'eza halacha b'glal zeh shekiyam halacha zu eina masim im inyan ha'kinois. This halacha, if we want to concede on a detail of halacha in order to fulfill this halacha, eina masim im inyan kinois. That's not a kanoi. What's a kanoi? A kanoi means, what's a kanoi? I'm not conceding on an iota. If the attitude of kiruv is that you're conceding on an iota for the greater benefit, you're not a kanoi. You follow the logic or not? I gotta make sure you get the logic here, because before Yoel is saying that, think about it. This is not kanois. This approach that we mentioned before is not zealotry. On the contrary, it's the opposite of zealotry. It's conceding. This is the greatest proof. This type of zealotry that you're displaying to hate a Jew who reaches out to another Jew is not kanois, kim herges is. It's rather a feeling of the bad side, of the evil side. Kanois, amitis, kinas Hashemi. What is true kanois, right? Because they're always going around saying, we're kanoim for Hashem. We're like Pinchas. So Yoel says, you know what true kanois is? Lishtadl b'chol amini ishtadlus. To put effort, with all kinds of effort, l'kayim kol ma shetziva HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'Torah, to do whatever Hashem commands in Torah. Afilu b'matziva eina behesem lehegesh kanois k'fi roiz reida eina yodom. That's kanois. One second. Here, sir. Kanois is to do what Hashem wants, even if your feeling is it's not the right thing to do. When you put yourself aside and you do it because Hashem said so, you're a kanoi for the words of Hashem, even though it goes against your grain, then you're a true kanoi. Yes, sir.
So I want to, I don't know, maybe take exception or go a little deeper into this. Anytime you take let's say an extreme approach to one thing, anytime, many times,
right,
you're going to be makel on something else. For example, Rav Soloveitchik, the Rav from YU, famously responded to somebody who said, "Why are you so makel on Shabbos?" He says, "I'm not makel on Shabbos. I'm machmir on pikuach nefesh."
Right, famous word, yeah.
So you have, there's a balance, and if you go to the extreme on one, it means you're going to, be less focused on what detracts from that.
So therefore, can finish your thought. Therefore,
when he says "L'kayim kol tzivah HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'Torah," that a kanoi is going to be kanoi on everything, I think that the natural history of things is that you can't.
What he means, whatever is in your purview as what God wants. That's what he means by everything. Whatever you consider to be what Hashem wants, that's considered the kanois by you. By you. He's not saying that this is a truism for every person. Like you said, for Rebbe Soloveitchik, that was his view of kanois. And others disagreed. Just the opposite. Because for them, they had another view of kanois. But the underlying principle is the same in all, and including what Rabbi Yoel was saying. He's saying is, if you're a kanoi for the Dvar Hashem, whatever your view of Dvar Hashem is, then you put aside your feelings. So he's telling the Satmar, if you're a real kanoi, put aside your personal feelings towards the Rishoyim. Now, of course, the Satmar will argue it's not my personal feelings; it's what God wants.
Now I'm commanded to hate.
So Reb Yoel already addressed that earlier, and he probably going to address it later on. That you're making a mistake. I'm sorry. There's the atinik shenishba and all that is not included. Yeah, you understand. So that goes back to a different argument. That goes back to a different.
Rosh Yisrael is not a tinok shenishba.
What'd you say?
The Rosh Agudas Yisrael is not a tinok shenishba.
The Rosh Agudas Yisrael. That's.
He's a Zioni. He should know better.
Yeah. So that we discussed that. I don't want to repeat, just because we have to go on. So we had a long discussion about that. That you can wear a yarmulke with a beard and everything else, and you think you know, and you really don't know. Yeah, Shabbos you're supposed to keep. So that's right. So their view, excuse me, the Kanoim's view is they don't delve in. They say, look, you're living in Eretz Yisrael. You know what Shabbos is, okay? And you're letting buses go in Tel Aviv on Shabbos. You're a Russia, right? Maybe he learned wrong pshat in Hilchas Shabbos. Maybe didn't go to a Mesifta, to a Beis Medrash. Maybe they just, I don't know if it's true, they found that one of the people's wives is involved with Yoshka. I don't know if it's true, it's not true, maybe it was a lie, but for the elections. My point is, there's so many unknowns that to delegitimize someone because, it's a simple fact and you're going against it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, by the way. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that the Maisa is Ra. See, Chabad Shita, and not just Chabad, but Chabad Shita is, and it'll come out here in the letter, the Maisa is Ra, not the person. And that's really the crux of the matter. Where the Kanoim, they say that the person is Ra, not evil, not just the act. And what does Chabad say? And those that follow that philosophy? Not that the person is evil, the act is evil. So when we talk about kanois, the question is the kanois against the act, or is the kanois against the person? Hillel, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, a comment and a question. It seems to me that there's a particular Yetzer Hara that so many of us have, to want to say circumstances require me to be above the law, outside the law, and I think that he's sort of putting his finger on that. There's a Zohar in this week's parsha that the Nesiv Shalom brings. It says that about Lot, that Lot went to. Lot, that Abraham went with Lot, that Lot is the name of a certain Yetzer Hara, Laban is the name of another Yetzer Hara, Esav's the name of another Yetzer Hara. It occurs to me, perhaps this tendency towards canals is the Yetzer Hara of Lot, who has this potential that we see by Sodom, of sort of taking things out of context, being willing to do something usher and evil in order to avoid to fulfill another kind of principle.
I hear you.
And the question I want to ask, the word kana, I assume it comes from Lashon Kina. Is it a term that's in the Torah itself or in the Tanakh itself?
Of course. Of course, by Pinchas. Hillel, of course. Pinchas. Bekanoi Eskinosi.
Got it, okay. Forgot that.
No, Kanoim Poikaboy is a Gemara. Rashi brings from the Gemara. But the Lashon, the Torah, Kedosha, is Hashem said, Bekanoi Eskinosi. That is the source for Kanois. Okay, let's go on.
Right. Okay, good.
Rabbi Gelfman, what page are we on?
Sure. I'm sorry. Page Tzadik Beis 92. We're now at the second paragraph. Let's read. Kili Divon, Yesh Kili Divoin, Yeshna Kaled. Rabbi Yoel says, to our chagrin, Yeshna Keila, there are those Shagam Kishmaviim Lehem Betuf Tamadas. even when you explain to them very well, and you show them sources in Shulchan Aruch that sometimes in certain conditions, it says you could find out in Shulchan Aruch that you're allowed to, the Shulchan Aruch and the Noisei Kalim, the commentaries say that in certain situations you're allowed to be Makarev sinners of Israel. V'aval became, nevertheless, these Kanoim, Hemisnaplin B'chol Tzaka Shel Buz, they attack with all shouts, screams of disgrace. Al Elu Shem. Okay, I need you to put on your thing. Mute yourself, please. Isser, please. Al Elu Shemarim Lehem Dinim Furoshim B'Shulchan Aruch. Isser, put on your thing, please. They disgrace the people, even though they're shown explicit laws in Shulchan Aruch. It's not that they argue. I have a different understanding of this particular law. These dinim that I'm referring to, Rebbe Yoel says, are clear dinim that you cannot interpret any other way. He says they scream without any sense, without any use of seichel, and they say du bist von the kat Schatz. Schatz is a Rosh Tevis Shabtai Tzvi. They say, and you guys hear this, you are from the kat, the group, the cult, Yoni, of Shabtai Tzvi. From the Samach Mem, you come from the Samach Mem, the angel of death and poison and all that. Wir wollen sich von gar nicht lassen. We won't let go, and we won't allow you to infiltrate. Wir wollen nicht despoil von deine Rayas. And they say to the person who says, look, let me show you that you're allowed, even al pidin, you're allowed to be makar of someone in a certain situation, etc., even though he's a Poisha Yisrael. By the way, what is he generally alluding to, Avram? To the concept of Tinuk Shenishba. People who are considered in the category of Tinuk Shenishba. That, by the way, is not just a Chabad Lubavitch thing. Reb Moshe Feinstein brings it in his Chuvas and Piskei Reb Moshe and other poskim. There's a much discussion and many poskim and people who write the responsa. There's a discussion of Tinuk Shenishba. So Rabbi Yoel is alluding to saying, even if we were to show the kanoi that this person is in the gather of Tinuk Shenishba, where halacha says you're allowed to be makarav, they say, I don't care, I don't want to hear, etc., etc. What is their only justification and their argument? It's not fitting for a kanoi to accept logic. So I don't care about your logic. I'm a kanoi. In other words, you hear the point. It's such a gewaldige point. I've put myself in a category of being a zealot. So therefore, zealotry equals being, Rabbi Yoel makes this point many times. I heard it from him, like being stupid. A zealot's allowed to be stupid. And Rabbi Yoel says, that's not what a Torah zealot is. Not a stupid, not a fool. A stupid means halacha says, I don't want to know about halacha, I don't want to know about Gemara, I don't want to be informed. I'm a kanoi. So he's saying that's not kanoi.
Don't bother.
What? Hillel, what?
Don't bother me with the facts. My mind is made up.
Exactly. Well said. Right to the point. Hainu shehayisoid etzlam hulei dini atayra. So by these kanoim, Yonason, the yisoid, the foundation isn't Torah, ki makanois. What drives them is like the kanois, like Hillel said, my mind's made up. That's it. And in this detail, the kanoim, he says, are similar in this detail to the to the Orthodox organizations, shehem mevatrim al kama v'kama dinim, that where they go and they make compromises on many dinim, b'shvil hahergesh shel avos Yisrael shelehem, because of their avos Yisrael to hate another Jew. You understand? Like Hissa said, they're saying, I have avos Yisrael. You know how I have avos Yisrael? By hating him because he's a Russia. I'm doing what the Torah says. I love him by hating him. So they're really saying that's so absurd, and what they're doing is they are conceding on a detail of Torah, which is an important detail, having true love and care for another Jew because of their kanois. So what's the difference saying that we don't need a mechitza for now and later we'll get a mechitza and things like that, conceding that way or conceding another way, or conceding with your streimel and your payas and your beard and hating a Jew? There's no difference in the quality of what's going on. Yedid Shali, he says, a friend of mine, Mechassid Lubavitch, of a Lubavitch chassid, he's bepam l'kamim anshi Satmar. He once explained to several Satmar chassidim how the style, the path, the approach of Lubavitch is according to halacha. Without any iota of concern of halacha, it's all within halacha. The kashero, regarding being makar of Yidden. The kashero, and when the Satmar Hasidim saw, they didn't have what to answer. They saw that he's right. Because he showed them clear halacha dinim b'shulchan aruch u'v'noisei kelim, and nun vav chaf is the acronym nosei kelim, the commentaries that v'shulchan aruch of the shulchan aruch anuloi. So they told my friend asher kol eichoch shaloi ma'adinim ha'mefurashim b'shulchan, all your proofs that you bring me from the open dinim b'shulchan aruch hem koyach shel sitra achra. It's all an expression of the sitra achra, of the negative side. And we're not allowed to listen to your arguments. It's all coming from the evil, bad side. And they added, quote, in Yiddish, Du gehst mit Lumdus. You're approaching this whole topic of Kiruv and Avos Yisrael with scholarship, Lumdus. Shabtai Tzvi is reich gewen a Lamden. Shabtai Tzvi was also a Torah scholar. So don't bring me proof with scholars and proofs from Shulchan Aruch. That's, sophistication. Shabtai Tzvi was a sophisticated, intellectual Torah Jew, and look at what it led. It led to Shabtai Tzvi, to heresy. Atem, and he continues, Atem etarim es hasheretz. You're purifying a creature, a creeping creature, which makes you tummy. Bekuf nun, bekan taimim, which is a famous expression with 150 reasons. I'll justify why sheretz, right? Normally, Yoini, in times of the basic English, if you touch a sheretz, you become tamei, right? The Torah says, but I'll explain to you with 150 reasons why you're allowed to touch this sheretz. Because he's so intellectual. So these Satmar said to this Lubavitcher that Yoel says, a friend of his, he says, you are like a Jew who's being matayr a sheretz with 150 reasons behind you. This is what Hillel just said a moment ago. What's going on over here in this discussion, he says, is that they come into the discussion with a preface, with a predisposition. That every idea, even something that's explicit in Shulchan Aruch, that doesn't sit well with the kanois, the way they feel their kanois and want to be kanoim, it's negative, it smells and smacks of Shabtai Tzvi. And after this introduction, next page, Tzadik Gimel, it's contrary to Torah. You're forbidden to make a general sweeping opinion and statement about an entire holy congregation, belishum chakiru drisha bebezdin valpiedim, without checking and going to a bezdin and having witnesses. You're forbidden to listen to proof of someone who's a kafir. That's what they say. This is all their argument. They say, I'm not allowed to listen to you. You know why? You're a kafir. Because anything that's not kanois is kfira. I'm not allowed to listen to you. So therefore, I discount anything and everything you say. Rabbi Yoel says, the question is, what is the foundation, the premise for their attitude, that whenever it doesn't correspond to their feeling of kanois, what's their source, buddy? And seemingly, the Lubavitcher is showing you that it's a clear din of Shulchan Aruch that you're allowed to be makarev a tinik shenishba. Maybe he's right. No, but you don't even give him the benefit of the doubt, and you don't even entertain it. Why? Because in your mind, he's a kafir. So a kanoi is not allowed to listen to a kafir, just like you're not allowed to listen to Shabtai Tzvi. And the fact that they say that also Shabtai Tzvi was a scholar, and the Yidden didn't want to listen to his proofs, which he brought from Chazal to justify Yeshu, Rahman al-Islam. Rabbi Yoel says, because that's true, right? He says that example of Shabtai Tzvi is not relevant to our situation. And on Monday, we're going to learn the difference between the true kat of Shabtai Tzvi and the Lubavitchers who are Makar of Yidden. He has to, in a way, it's like so hurtful that he has to stoop so low, Rabbi Yoel has to stoop so low and let's say address this issue. But that's exactly what he does here, because that's where they're coming from. If you don't address these issues, which, probably listening, you have saying this is like absurd. The Lubavitch is like Shabtai Tzvi, because they're Makar of Jews. I mean, are you out of your mind? Yeah, that's the way they think. I don't mean, when I say they, I don't mean everybody. You know what I'm saying? The Shita of the Kanoim. There are plenty of Satmar and others that are not that way. Yes, Yoel.
Question though, when he wrote this, do you know what year this was written in?
I believe in the early 80s, 80 to 83. I think this was written maybe in 83, but some at that time.
So can you imagine, this was written in 83 when the Rebbe was alive, correct?
Yes.
The Rebbe was alive.
Yeah, yes,
right?
yes.
Right? Can you imagine what it would be if he would write it today? Where everything that we're saying now is 100-fold, because Mashiachistim, then there was no Mashiachist.
Right.
Then it was only other stuff, but now it would be on a whole different level. This would be like, for them, are you kidding, the biggest zets.
I have to, say that's a point well taken. That's right. But knowing Rabbi Yoel, and I knew him well, he would explain the difference between the Mashiachistim and Shabtai Tzvi. You understand? And you don't have to be Rebbe Yoel to understand that, because, like I said over and over on our shiurim for the last 5 years, you can count me on the hand. Okay, listen, I'm not in Eretz Yisrael, but I've been to Tzfas, and I've been farbrengen in the yeshivas there, and I see the young kids by the here, they come to Israel, and I saw them on the plane. It's not Shabtai Tzvi. It's basically, we're doing something wild and crazy to keep it alive. Again, I'm not saying that's the way it should be done, but that generally you can count on finger how many people are saying, no, we don't have to fast anymore. And anyone like that is really a heretic and apikoitis and totally out of his mind. But that was a blown up issue that David Berger, may he be well, live and be well, brought to the table in his book against Chabad and all that, where he sold a bill of goods and he tried selling it to the Moses Gedolei Torah, who approached me, one of the main Rabbanim, Rabbi whatever, from the Chsan Sofer Yeshiva, and he came over to me and he said, "What's this?" And he got a letter or a call from Berger, and I told him he believes that Chabad should be banned, ostracized, because not eat their shechita, not drink their wine, because of the Meshichistim and all that, and they believe that the Rebbe is God and things like that. And I said that's not the case. It's definitely not conventional, and I don't agree with it, but and he said, yeah, don't worry, we're not going to be doing that anyway. But I just wanted to, So, like I said, there's Meshuggah Lo Yisa Dover, there's the concept and different things. But you're right. You're right that the Kanoim would use this to fuel their argument. If that's what you're saying, Yoini, I agree with you. You follow? Anybody else have any thoughts or want to say something? Okay. Anyway, we're going to go back, for those that didn't hear, on Monday to 2:45 your time. Okay, so remember that. Yes, Hillel, you want to say something?
No, I just want to wish everybody a good Shabbos.
Thank you. Everyone should have a great Shabbos.
Yeah, thank you.
And only good things. Sei gesund, we'll see you guys. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.